I mean, I think so. I just wanted to get our team on the court against someone else. Where you maybe weren't prepared for every scenario, and obviously we were. If you would have asked me last week lineup wise, some of the lineups we played, I probably would have thought you were crazy. But that's just what happens over the course of a season. So it was good to kind of put some guys in some uncomfortable situations. I mean, maybe a little earlier than I would have liked, but yeah, I feel good about overall how the guys responded throughout the course of the game, and we're kind of able to assert our will, and but now you got film, and a lot of times film's a great teacher, so we're going to make sure we take advantage of that.
Do you have timetables on the guys that didn't play?
Nothing in particular. I mean, I don't think any of them's a long-term serious injury, so my guess would be sooner rather than later.
You're probably not looking at combinations, or maybe you were, but just giving everybody a chance to play. Is that kind of
a little bit? Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I like seeing those three guards play together, a little bit. And I think, if you throw Pella in that mix, it's pretty dynamic with how they can play. And I want those guys to get comfortable, with when you have guys that can play like that, handle the ball, score, and make decisions, it might be a different guy's night, and on different nights. So I want those guys to get comfortable, being able to understand that, hey, the way we play, we're going to get a lot of great opportunities, and maybe one game you get a few more than the others, but kind of trust that overall. And I think if we can establish that, that'll be powerful.
What did you think about the cohesion between the three guards out there tonight?
I felt pretty good about it. I mean, I think they got us off to a decent start, and I think, offensively they were, pretty connected. And I think overall the decision-making was pretty solid. Defensively, I felt like, maybe we weren't maybe as solid as we could be. We weren't an aggressive team, but I think you can also be aggressive and be solid and make good decisions on defense. And maybe we got a little undisciplined or a little amped up at times. But again, the game played out pretty fast in front of us. So, there was a lot of things going on. So we'll kind of see, why you gave up 11 made threes. That's too big of a number. And, why are we getting in those rotations? I'll have to go back. I have an idea why I think some of them were happening, but I'll go back and double check and make sure I'm not guessing.
Caleb made a bunch of drives to the basket, had 7 assists. Is he been maybe pigeonholed too much as a guy that's just an outside shooter?
Well, listen, I've just asked him to be aggressive and make good basketball decisions. And, and he seems to be bought into that. And, that's kind of how he's been, practicing overall. So I think he's on a good way. And, I don't know if we're going to see that level of efficiency every single night, but obviously he's capable of doing some great things, and I think that also carries over to the defensive end as well. So I want to see him keep growing there and playing with great effort and toughness and making great decisions. And rebounding is one of the areas I've really been on him about. And I think he rebounded a little bit better in the second half. So yeah, seems like he's going to rise to the challenge.
How do you think Dylan and Henry did? More opportunities, getting more minutes than maybe they would have.
Yeah, I think they were fine. Dylan's really been practicing well and making big progress. And those other two guys he's been battling with are really good players. And Henry's kind of been trending up. And he's been practicing a lot more at the 4 than the 5, and just kind of with situationally and how the lineups played out tonight, he had to play more 5. It's not a big difference in how he plays, but yeah, I want to see him continue to grow as well. And I remember, a few things stick out in my mind that he did well tonight. So I can't wait to break down the film and, show him some of the things he did good and show him a few of the things we want him to get better at.
What will be the determining factor for playing time?
Impact winning, is always what it comes down to. How do you impact winning? And, I think, when it's going to be a situation where, we have a lot of guys that can play. And so just finding that balance of, making sure guys are getting opportunities and, get enough playing time to be comfortable and confident, and then, but also, taking advantage of those runs they get and playing with maximum effort. And, we might not have situations where guys are playing, 10-minute runs. That might not be how this team's built. So can we embrace that? That's, one of the things we have to do to be a great team.
So with Henry, is that more exclusively at the 4 you've been using him with the 3 other big guys?
Yeah, we have 3 guys that are probably a little bit, stronger and more suited to play the 5 position than him. But, Henry can play it as well. When you're a player, you better be able to play multiple positions. That gives you a a greater opportunity to find, you know, time on the court. So, you know, Henry's going to play the 4 and some 5, and you know, I mean, he just, you know, how we've been breaking up practice, it seems like he's been getting a lot more reps at the 4. So, you know, and then you know, I feel it's challenging for Morauskas because he really hasn't played any 4 at all. And then, you know, we kind of thrust him in tonight where he's playing mostly at the 4, and you know, he's just not really comfortable because our 4 and 5 move differently than our 1, 2s, and 3s within the flow of the offense. So, you know, so it's probably unfair to judge him based on tonight.
Seemed like Kylan was letting the game come to him. Pretty efficient night for him. Can you just talk about his development offensively from offseason to this point?
Yeah, I mean, Kylan's a good basketball player. I mean, he's a guy that, you know, I don't want him to pigeonhole himself as I'm a distributor or I'm a shooter. I want him, you know, just like I want Caleb to be dynamic, just like I want Pella to be dynamic, where they're as good a passer and a guy reading the game as they are, you know, taking and making shots. So I thought he showed a lot of that today. I mean, he obviously got us off to a good start, made a couple of shots early, and you know, he's practiced really well. I mean, he's actually, you know, I think he's really, you know, distributed the ball well. I mean, it didn't show in his assist tonight, but, you know, I don't think that's any indicator of anything in particular. So, yeah, I'm excited to go back and watch the film and watch him continue to grow because he's a really good ball player.
6 different guys with at least 2 steals. How do you emphasize trying to get your hand on the ball, but not to the point that you're going to get a foul?
Well, I mean, we'll probably push that limit, you know, I mean, a little bit. And, you know, I think we have guys that have good instincts, you know, to make steals. You know, we don't talk a ton about, hey, we got to get steals, we got to do this, we got to do that. I think they're just a byproduct of our personnel and how we play. We want to apply ball pressure and we want to be opportunistic. And, you know, I mean, I still want to see our defense grow and get better in those gap situations. I think that's what caused some of those, you know, over rotations today that led to open threes. And you know, sometimes you got to get in film and, you know, hey, you're excited, you want to make a play, but you have to have a little bit better judgment. And so, yeah, we'll take a look at the film and dissect it a little bit and figure that out and hopefully be better at it next week.
Last question. What's your message to KJ Lewis about his role this season?
KJ's a really good player. And, you know, I want him to be aggressive. You know, I think he'll, over the course of the year, I think he'll figure out, you know, how to temper his aggression a little bit to make sure, you know, he, you know, is you know, not putting himself in difficult situations. You know, I think a couple times today I could think of where he got subbed into the game and maybe his first touch, you know, he tried making, you know, a pass I know he can make on a ball screen, but maybe that's the time you turn it down. So I think he'll figure that stuff out. But again, he's the kind of guy who could change a game with his effort and energy. So the last thing I want to do is make him conservative.
Thanks, Coach.